Squamish, BC is a city located between Vancouver and Whistler, and with incredible views of snow-capped mountains and the Howe Sound, it has become a popular place to call home. Less than an hour between both Vancouver and Whistler, Squamish is attracting young professionals, outdoor enthusiasts, young families, and retirees. To tell us more about Squamish and what's driving this market, joining us today, we have Angie Vazquez with Engel Völkers. So Angie, from Mexico to now a top agent in Squamish, tell us your story. How did this all happen?
Well, the short of the long version is it happened for love. I moved here for love and I stay here for love. That's the short answer.
Awesome. And now being there in the sea of sky and your team there, what areas of that region do you service?
Mostly I'm based in Squamish. So with the first question, I moved with my family in 2008. I came here for a sabbatical. And we were here for a year, and then we were planning to. My ex-husband was working as a pilot. He's a pilot, so we were going to Dubai, and then we came to Squamish, moved here. He got hired to work for the Olympics, and we were here as a family. And I thought it was the great community, like the best community for a family, for the opportunities, and everything is close by. So yes, yeah, and mostly I'm based in Squamish. Sometimes. Like I have some listings in Whistler, and sometimes I just sold a lot in Pemberton. But yeah, Squamish is my playground.
Wonderful. And with so much to offer, both kind of amenities, indoor and outdoor, what are some of your favorite things about living in Squamish?
For me, Squamish is the community. I think the key point here is the community and the opportunities. Everything is close by. So for example, I moved here with a 2-year-old daughter and a 5-year-old son. And they have been, because of the community, it's very strategic. Like the location is amazing. So they were able to go like classes, soccer, music, horseback riding, skiing, mountain biking, everything in one spot without driving more than like 15 minutes. It's to Squamish Valley. Now I have a property there in Squamish Valley, and it's 18 minutes drive, right? So I think the key for Squamish, and I always recommend Squamish for families with young kids, because you can do it all. I think that's the catch.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'm living here in North Vancouver and Squamish, not too far away from even here, just getting up there, a quick drive away. I love hiking, love the outdoors. Even Whistler's so
Totally.
close, skiing, mountain biking, it really does, offer a lot to people living there. Obviously
Absolutely.
Here in Vancouver, the activity levels have been, quite off the charts in the last little while. Can you talk about the activity levels there in Squamish?
My God, I know with the, like in 2020, they were even advising people not to come over because of that. They wanted to enjoy the outdoors. Now with the gondola, right? Like the gondola a couple of years ago when they opened, I think the activity, my favorite one is Brom Lake. I swim at Brom Lake as many days I can in the summer. So I think and I'm always posting to my friends in Mexico. Well, I have been Canadian for like 13 years now, but like, hey, you guys, I live in La Landia, and I just post like, the lake. I think from where I live is 7-minute drive to Brom. So in 7 minutes I can be swimming, and like fair enough. Sometimes I do showings in the summer, like it's dark at 10 p.m. So sometimes if I have a late showing at 8:30, I'm like, after swimming, I go there with the swimsuit still, and I'm like, oh yeah, showing a property. So I think that's one of the. And I always feel proud of like, where else can you do that? Go for a quick, like 35-minute swim and then go and keep working, right? So I think that's my favorite activity. And of course, hiking, mountain biking. I live close Quest University in the Highlands, and just weekends is just the traffic with the bikes on top. Everyone is coming like to the trails and enjoying the nature. And yeah, it's a pretty nice town.
When working with sellers right now, it seems that the market's quite active, and
Yes.
What advice are you providing with your sellers right now? How are you positioning them? What kind of advice are you giving your sellers in today's market?
I think the key advice or the key, like it's for them to have a game plan, to have a property. I think 40% of my, 40% of my buyers are going either to the island or Kelowna. So if the best advice is if they don't have a property like already under offer or a place for them to move in, it's pretty much not worth it for them to put the place on the market because it's going to sell in hours or days, and then it's hard for them to buy something else or start looking for something in town. So I think 40% of the sellers are just like empty nesters or people that they want to, downsize, and they have another property, and that's pretty much the advice. Don't sell until you find something else.
Yeah.
So you have a plan, because if not, it's going to be very stressful.
Sure. And as you touched on, super competitive market, listings being on for
God.
hours, if not a day or two, and in such a competitive market, what are some of the advice you're giving to your buyers?
To the buyers, this year has been challenging because as much as we are in this market together, right? And as much as I don't want them to overpay or participate in multiple offers, if they love the house, at the end of the day, they are always making the call. We're there just to hold their hands in the process, but they ultimately it's their call if they want to go over asking. But I think every place that I saw last year, they already made money, like at least 10%. So for me, sometimes I say like, oh my God, it's going to go higher, but it has been always a good business for the buyers as well. So I try to check for listings that are off market, sleeve listings, or people that I know they bought 5 years ago and the kids are going to university. The good thing, I have been in business almost 10 years now. This is my 9th year. And I know people that they are already empty nesters. And of course, for them is like making like double the price or more from 10 years ago, right? So I think it's kind of, that's what I do the best. Kind of my Rolodex or my database is big. So I call the people, hey, if you're interested in selling or considering I have a buyer, etc. However, now it's a catch-22, right? Because the opportunity, if I list their place, then chances are it's going to go to a multiple offer situation. So it's a little bit tricky. You have to just disclose everything and try to work for the best interest of buyer and seller. In the past, I was always very proud that when I'm representing sellers, I always get like over asking or like very good stats. I'm a computer engineer, so I love numbers. And then for the buyers, I try to get lower. But I think my advice the last couple of months, from November or October to date, is like just go very strong, very, very strong, because otherwise we don't stand a chance.
Right.
Exactly. Those are great points from both the buying side and the selling side.
Yeah.
And if you were to get a call from an investor, say an out-of-town investor that lived in Alberta, and they said, hey, Angie, I'm looking for an investment property. Maybe that's a condo, maybe that's a duplex, maybe that's a suited single-family home. With a real estate investor, what kind of product would you point them towards maybe, and maybe what neighborhood or area of town should they look in?
That's a half-hour question, very good question. So we have right now maybe 15 to 20 new developments and a lot of applications. I'm very active. I try to go to public hearings, etc. I sold in the last 2 years around 37 condos in 2 buildings. I really like the main when they in downtown. The main I have the record sales on that building, and I also love like Red Bridge. Sea and Sky as well. It's a community. They're going to have their own community center, like swimming pool. It's by the ocean. So I really like Red Bridge. There is another project coming on Finch that is called Finch Living as well. One more in Britannia Beach. So there's so many to choose. What I do, I think, is like present all the opportunities, present like a rainbow of like different, depending on the age group, if they need a suite, if they like downtown. I think downtown is going to have challenges a little bit with parking in the near future. So depending as well, if I know it's a double income, no kids or commuters. Remember in the past, we used to be a bedroom community, like catering for Whistler and Vancouver, and that changed with COVID because now people, they can live here and work here. So a lot of people from Kitsilano, Lower Mainland, North Vancouver, they sold their townhomes there and bought a detached single family home. Like I think the clients were asking for one thing, a property with his office and her office. So it was like, or with a 3-bedroom. So then 1 bedroom upstairs can be his office, and then the office can be her office, right? So that was but I think there is a lot of menu to choose in Squamish. So what I do is present all the options, and then maybe we go to the presentation center, and they make, of course, if we go to a presentation center, they usually fall in love immediately of one of the 3 or 4 options, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, always a lot of different options, especially now, people looking for at-home work situations as well. And during COVID, a lot of the attractions of living in downtown cores kind of seemed to disappear. People were looking to go elsewhere for some more space. What does it look like for someone, say they sold their $1.5 million condo downtown Vancouver and they moved to Squamish? What does that look like when they're getting into the market out there?
That's as well. When in 2020, it looked detached single family. From a condo and townhome, they can afford, like, even at 1.5 a couple of years ago, a detached single family with an income suite, with a suite. So it was like, we were always in the past like 30 to 40% less per square foot than Vancouver and Whistler prices. Because the same thing, we were a bedroom community, there were not a lot of jobs, etc. But now it changed. Everything is changing. I couldn't believe, you guys, I don't know, it happened to you, I'm sure it did, that during COVID, with all the uncertainty, I think we did better in real estate, and the real estate market has been super strong regardless of COVID. And I think it's more the same thing that we're touching base on, right? Like, that is the economy, and then here you can buy a bigger house, you can have a backyard, a hot tub, and because we are not, the world changed, we cannot travel that much, or there's more requirements to traveling. People, they want to staycation, so they want a place with space that they can have planters and have like a garden, and be able to entertain the kids, and homeschooling. Sometimes I had clients with suites that they were using the suites with tutors. They were working upstairs and the kids were homeschooling downstairs. So it was very interesting to watch everything that it was happening in the past. In 2020, I think 2019, I saw like around 46 houses, and then 2020, like, I never expected, I sold 61, and last year 63. So it has been just like, whenever you think like, how can it get better? It is better. It got better for sure, right? So I feel also with the responsibility of, we have to make sure that keep the economy going, try to keep working and serving our clients regardless of all the uncertainty that we're facing, and the lockdowns and everything that is happening every day, right? I try to not to watch news as well, because anyways.
Angie, you talked about the lifestyle that Squamish provides the residents, obviously the affordability aspect in comparison to maybe the Lower Mainland or comparison to Whistler. With people moving from these cities, from Whistler, from the Lower Mainland, maybe the Fraser Valley, do locals feel that it's kind of lost its small town vibe, or what's the consensus there? Obviously, with growth comes change, and do people feel that it's kind of lost its small town vibe, or what's the feeling there?
Yeah, there's always, you have like the two, like You have some locals, they were like, oh, it's like so busy, etc. Like, but now we have many new places. It's a very funky town. It's a very, very nice town, and very, the average age in Squamish is 37 years old. It's a very young community. So all my clients are like, very conscious about like what they eat, very athletic. They are like Olympians or ex-Olympians, so I feel proud of my clients, like if they were my kids. And yes, there is, of course, all-time Squamish like families that they are like, of course, a little bit of resistance to change. I find like in the beginning, there was like people against the gondola or against, the ski resort or against, and you will always find resistance, right? But I think growing is progress as well. And now we have more options for restaurants. We have more job opportunities for our kids. I have 2 teenagers and both of them are working. So yeah, I'm grateful for everything, for the progress of this town. And I think it's the perfect, we're still like 20, I will say 22, 23,000 people. So it's still a small community.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, very small community. For me, it works very good because I think when I have a radio ad or something, I go and I think I give it away with my accent, right? I went the other day to Home Hardware and I'm like, oh, I think I just heard it on the radio. And I was like, oh my God, is that strong? My accent so strong that I couldn't,
It's working.
even
It's
with the
working.
mask, exactly. I was like, okay, so it's a small community. We have these Mountain FM, so people there coming up Whistler and checking the weather conditions and traffic and knock on wood if there's accidents. So they listen to the radio, and I think I like that about the small community that I get. I know a lot of people in town, and I think that is also a feeling of a small community, just waving at people when you walk on the street.
Definitely. And first off, congratulations on a great few years there in the real estate world in Squamish. And I've seen you sell some really beautiful single family developments with pretty spectacular views. What kind of the cost for one of those properties, and what are the supply and demand as well?
Right now, it was as you know, like the lowest in the history, pretty much. But the houses right now, detached single family with a suite, brand new, around 2 to 3 million, I will say, but are gorgeous. That the same house in Whistler will be 4, and the same thing in North Vancouver, right? So we're still like more affordable comparing to other markets, and I think our location is super strategic because we're like, you can be skiing in 40 minutes in Creekside, and then you can be at Park Royal as well in 45 minutes. So where else can you do that? And having the advantage, but I will say in the over 2 million price range, there's another community that I used to live, and I sold a couple of properties as well. There, like 7 or 8 properties on Ravenswood as well. Houses go like in the 1.7 price range, 1.6 to 1.8, more or less, and it's detached single family home, and it's just the location is in the heart of Squamish, so it's very, very nice community as well. So yeah, I will say you can buy a house, brand new house with a suite in the 2.2 price range.
And with a suite like that for a young family getting into the market with a mortgage helper maybe down below, what can someone expect for a rental suite down below in a single family like that in terms of rental income?
I have been living around 10 or 11 years near Quest University, so we get a lot of tutors and teachers. There's Coast Mountain private school, so in that area, around like 15 to 1,700 per 1 bedroom. So rentals are very, very, like, it's a very good mortgage helper, as you mentioned. And then in downtown, same. I will say for a 1 bedroom, 1,700, 2 bedroom in the 2,000, 3 bedroom, 2,500. And then you go to like townhomes that are like in the 3,000 price range. Rentals are not more affordable than the city. So then prices, if you buy a house, it is like price per square foot is lower here, but in rentals, I think it's pretty similar, similar. But yeah, and you nailed it as well, because mostly because of the age group is so young here, everyone buying a place, one of the most the things that they ask the most is for an income suite. It's like a mortgage helper is kind of a must-have list.
Yeah, it definitely goes a long way.
Yeah,
totally.
And you touched, I mean, with more people moving there, a lot more developments coming, and you touched on some of the community amenities as well that are now in Squamish. How are the services? How are the restaurants? Any new, development restaurants, little areas, strip malls that are coming to Squamish there?
Yeah, we need more, of course. I'm a city girl. Before living
Yeah.
here, I used to live in Mexico City with 30 million people. For me, it was from, it was a big change.
Great city.
But yeah, it was like, of course, like for my kids, this is the best community, and I was not afraid that anything will happen to them. But restaurants, there is very nice restaurants. I really like Salted Vine and Pepe's, and there's this like Sunflower Bakery, Daltrey Bakery. There's a lot of Golden Cross. Like I always try to, of course, like in my closing give something local. So I'm a very good client of all of these restaurants, or a voucher for them to take out food that they're moving day, so they don't have to cook. Of course, everything is in boxes. So yeah, it's coming along. There is another restaurant by the ocean that is called Cordelia's as well. So many restaurants. There is a huge list, and the brew pub that has been here for 30 years, and a lot of like the farmers market every Saturday. So yeah, I love the community, and because again, everything is so close by, so you can do a lot of stuff in one day. That's that I can go and do an activity with the kids, and then go have dinner. There's a lot of a new like Vietnamese food as well. Do you know what we're missing? A Mexican food restaurant. I have to put my there's no Mexican food.
There's an opportunity
well,
there.
Only
Maybe
exactly,
another arm of the business.
Exactly. A lot of people, when I cook for them, are like, when are you opening a restaurant? I'm like, oh my God, I can barely keep up with real estate. Restaurant is a big commitment, but yeah, no, it's very, very, very nice. And the watershed on the river, this TV show they're shooting, Virgin River, it's here in Squamish as well on Netflix. So yeah.
Very cool. Very
Virgin
cool.
River, and it's at the watershed. The Jack's Bar is the watershed, is one of the local restaurants here.
Very nice. We'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
And assessed values, the numbers just came out recently for the different properties, condos, townhomes, single family homes. From your perspective, where do you see the most appreciation over the next few years? Do you see that continuing within the single family space because of the lack of land? Do you see that in the condo space? Kind of provide your perspective and your crystal ball, for lack of a better description.
I know, exactly, Chris. I wish I had it, Taylor. I wish I had the crystal ball to tell where it's coming. But what we saw, like the stronger market this year was in townhomes. They are going like in the 1 million price range. So the appreciation was more, of course, in townhomes. And the district is very like in pro of density and affordable housing. So they are allowing to have like a carriage house, of a coach house, or like a tiny home at the back of your property, in order to like increase affordable living, so you can have a rental as well. So I will say it's tough to say. There's I think a mix of everything. What Squamish has is like, let's say we need more commercial spaces as well, and a mall. There is some efforts in near, like in the industrial park. So Squamish is more like, you have all the community, Valley Cliff and Crumpet Woods with ocean views. That is a new community. And then you have downtown, and then in the center of Squamish, you have the industrial park. So I think it's a typical, and then you have the Highlands and Brackendale. So it's kind of spread out, a little bit spread out. So of course, I'm in pro of density as well. And condos, I think condos, there's Amagi, Milagro, Aegean, a couple coming in downtown. But that concerned me as a resident, and having my office in downtown as well. Concern is parking, because they also want to, usually the ideally will be like people biking everywhere, right? But like the reality is that like usually we have two cars, his car, her car, right? So yeah, I will say a little bit of everything, and hopefully we have more condos, but not only in downtown. I think downtown is a little bit more density, and detached single family with views in the highlands is growing as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, Angie, we really appreciate you, having this conversation with us, sharing some insights on the Squamish area. If people were to want to get
thank you for having me.
yeah, absolutely. And if people were looking to get in touch with you, maybe look at some of these properties, what is the best way to reach you?
Text. I'm like always on my phone. I'm very proud of my Instagram. I don't take credit. I have Switch House taking care of my Instagram. I have more than 11,000 followers in almost 7 years with the same company. So I think because of my background as an engineer, I'm always looking for technology. But the good and the bad thing, because as soon as I learn how to do like Facebook, then Instagram, and then Snapchat, and then TikTok, and then when am I going to feel that I got it?
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely text me at my 778-318-5900 or Instagram as well. Angie Vazquez .real estate.
Sounds good, and we'll definitely make sure to share your contact information and social channels here with the recording of this interview. And Angie, thank you so much again for carving out some time out of your busy day to sit down with Austin and I, and really enjoyed our conversation today and catching up on what's happening up in beautiful Squamish there.
Thank you so much for having me, and hopefully you come and visit soon and see everything that I have to share here in town.
We'll have to check out all those restaurants.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At least you're going to write it down.
For sure.
Totally.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Nice. Thank you for having me. Have a